So let's talk about the Bible. All right. This may ruffle a few feathers because of all the indoctrination and because of all the programming. But if you have an open mind and you willing to ascertain right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, then you're in the right place. Now, we all heard this story. All right. We heard the story of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, and the serpent. All right. Let's really dissect this and break this down. All right. First and foremost, all the stories in the Bible is actually predicated on the Anunnaki story, all right? However, the Hebrew scribes didn't want to credit the Sumerians, so they demonized the Anunnaki as fallen angels, and their offspring is Nephilim. This is Anu, all right? Anu basically means the heavenly one. This is his son Enlil, and this is his son Enki, all right? Enki was part Draconian, all right? Enki's mother was Id. Id is part Draconian, all right? When Anu wanted to create a covenant, he married Id to create a covenant between the Riskrians and the Draconians for the gold. All right, they were mining for gold. You speak of Enki and Enlil. En mean Lord. Okay, En is Lord, and Lil is the sky. Okay, so Enlil was basically the Lord of the sky. Okay, so he's the sky daddy, basically, the god of that people reference to in the Bible is Enlil. Okay, he's the one that did the flood and everything. Enki, on the other hand, was trying to stop Enlil. Enki was the serpent that communicated with the Adamu. The Adamu was the first man. First man was birthed by Inanna. Inanna was Anunnaki queen, and she basically gave birth to the first Adamu. Okay, it was a mixture between man and Anunnaki, and that's what created the first man, the first Adam. Now, when they're on this testing facility, actually Adam has a book. Actually, the Council of Nicaea won't tell you that, but Adam went crazy when they said they are like us. That was Enki and Enlil beefing. They were arguing in the garden at the time because Enlil didn't want us to know who we were. Okay, Enki did. Enki wanted to go against Enlil because they had a dispute. They were feuding. Okay, we actually all have reptilian in us. Okay, our ancestors had draconian in them. That's why we all have a reptilian brain. The red portion that you see highlighted there is the reptilian brain. This is why when our skin dries, it scales. Okay. This is why our skin dries up and we scale. We talk about reptilians. All of us have reptilian in us. Our reptilians were the first one of the first to inhabit the planet. One of the progenitors of life on the planet. You had the Draconians and the Anunnaki. Okay. Again, Anunnaki mean those from heaven to earth came. Their actual title for those Nubian entities we discuss all the time is Riskwian. If you ever question, how did a snake talk? How did it? And they didn't think it was weird. They making reference to Enki because he had draconian features. So when they said a serpent came to him and was telling them and speaking to him, and they realized that they were God, that was Enki talking to them. All right. It's gonna be a part 2. It's some Enki and Enlil, Anunnaki Bible Connection Part 2. All right, so where we left off at, I was telling y'all that Enlil basically is the God of the Bible, basically. The God that they depict in the Bible is basically Enlil, all right? Genesis chapter 2, verse 10 through 14, it refers to a conversation, okay, in which the entity speaking states, let us create man in our own image, okay, in our own image, and that the gold in the land of Eden was good. And we know he was talking to Enki, okay? You see the last spelling of his last name is Ki. So it's not planet Kai, it's actually planet Ki. Ki means land. So the first term of landlord basically is stemming from Enki. He was the original landlord. Enki had a son named Marduk. Okay, this is Enki's son. Marduk was basically like a war general. He was a disagreeable too. He was aggressive like Enlil. These entities basically both wanted dominion over the planet. Okay, Marduk and Enlil. They wanted control of the whole realm, and they went to war over control of the whole realm. They both wanted control over the Sinai Peninsula spaceport, all right? But because of that, Enlil needed a servant, so he communicated with a man named Abraham. When he communicated with Abraham, basically, he formed a covenant with Abraham. He told Abraham he would give him many descendants if he was loyal to Enlil. So that's why he was loyal to Enlil, who was referred to as the Yahweh. Again, Yahweh was a title. It was a title amongst the Anunnaki for the highest rankings, okay? So it was many Yahwehs. It was more than one Yahweh. In the midst of all this going on, Marduk wanted to communicate with his home planet. He wanted to communicate with the people on the Biru. So he created a huge tower, okay? Basically a tower. Now these towers, we understand ancient technology. They had towers and structures that basically had the ability of, like satellites in a sense, that had the ability of communicating and breaking through the ethers. And that's what the tower symbolized, all right? And the process of that, Enlil destroyed it. because he was utilizing humans. He was utilizing humans to build the tower, mine for gold. They was using us to mine for gold. They was using humans to do everything, basically. And in the process of that, Enlil seen that he was utilizing the humans, so he broke up the language, basically, to make it more difficult for the tower to be completed. Also, Marduk ended up getting control of the peninsula, okay? So Enlil didn't like that. Enlil wanted to destroy it. In the process of Enlil destroying it, he came across, when he wanted to destroy it, he ended up an angel, an angelic messenger, basically. They was referred to as messengers, notified Lot that Enlil was going to destroy it, you know, that it was going to be destroyed. And that when this peninsula was destroyed, the aftermath also destroyed Gomorrah. So that's what the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah was. It was an Anunnaki war that was going on between Marduk and Enlil. The whole Old Testament is basically stems from the Enuma Elish. Okay, it's basically the Enuma Elish. It's a mixture of a lot of different books. The Epic of Creation. It's a bunch of books that compile to make the Bible, basically. For anyone that has been a victim of the indoctrination, you know, you have to really realize, okay, when our people were colonized, when our people were put in positions to try to ascertain right knowledge, we were stripped from all our spiritual customs and anything that our ancestors originally did. We were force-fed that Bible. We were force-fed that Bible. And this isn't disrespect to anyone's beliefs or anything of that nature, okay? I love everyone, and I hope everyone the best. But you have to question, why would God be jealous, right? When you read the Bible, when it said God is a jealous God, this is stemming from ancient astronauts that wanted dominion over the planet and wanted us to worship them and deify them, okay? This is what this stems from, all right? Enlil basically wanted us to worship them, all right? So when you hear the term Yahweh, that's referred to just a title that Enlil had and the Anunnaki hierarchy system. Marduk was actually Amun-Ra, okay? When you say amen, you're paying homage to Marduk every time. And in reference to the actual flood, that transpired from ancient Anunnaki technology, laser technology, I may add, that Enlil utilized to melt the polar ice caps, causing a massive tidal wave to flood us out, okay? He figured that the planet was overpopulated, all right? And in that process, Enki wanted to make sure he saved people, okay? He utilized, and when they say two of everything, that was DNA. That was basically genetic petri dishes that they utilized on some form of ship, okay? And when he enlightened Noah in reference to what was transpiring concerning that, Enki was trying to save us throughout the time. So there's disagreeable Anunnaki, and there's agreeable Anunnaki that actually do want us to win. And actually, again, it was a sibling rivalry. So Enki was going against anything that Enlil did at that time. Okay, they wasn't getting along with each other, and for some reason these guys was at odds, and we unfortunately took the brunt of their sibling rivalry, all right? And you still see it today. There's certain offspring of Enkis and certain offspring of Enlils that to this day don't get along. You ask the question, well, why can't Nubians all get along? We direct descendants of a sibling rivalry. We in direct conjunction with that. And in order for us to fully ascend past that, we have to fully tap into our own divinity. Okay? And it start with right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and fully understanding the lies and the indoctrination that's been put in front of you. This was a weapon that Marduk used, called the Uhulol. It was a weapon that actually manipulated wind, okay? So these Anunnaki ancient astronauts had magical weapons as well. You know, some of the anime you see and some of the devices you see and things of that sort. Some of the stuff that you see our country going to war over is probably ancient artifacts that they don't know how to utilize, and they still trying to master the technology that our ancient ancestors were using at the time, okay? And again, we all seedlings from these ancient astronauts. We all have their DNA. So when we unlock, it's going to be crazy.